What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Crew 2, and in this video I'm revisiting the Chevrolet Camaro SS after the Season 8 Episode 1 handling update. And my goodness, guys, the more of these cars I actually test out, the more of them I actually like to use. And I really do feel like many of the touring cars now are going to be insanely useful, and are at least good enough to actually run in summits and or PvP if you would like to. Of course, there's still going to be really good cars like the lovely FXXK. And for the motorcycles, I really don't see a lot of players running these bikes, but let me know in the comments below if you guys still run the motorcycles over the cars. I really do think a lot of players are going to like the cars more. For example, the McLaren 12C. I have been seeing more of this car showing up in summits and or leaderboards, which is awesome. I've also been seeing players run the MX-5 as well, so seeing a lot of these cars show up a lot more often now is definitely pretty awesome. I'm definitely planning on checking out more of these cars in the future to really see how they do compare, especially compared to something like the FXXK and or some of these better touring cars. But nonetheless, guys, the car I'm going to look at in this video is going to be the Camaro SS. Now, this is probably one of those touring cars that you're most likely not going to see being used all that often. I would probably say I don't think I've ever seen one player actually run this vehicle in many of the summits and or just racing in general. I don't think I've ever seen anybody really run the Camaro. Now, the top speed on this car is going to be around 257 miles per hour, which I would probably say is going to be kind of average, especially in the touring car category. I did notice many of these cars hitting around 255, and when testing out many of these touring cars, you can definitely see some cars do have a lot of positives and or negatives to them, and I feel like that's going to be a way to like offset the balance and or make certain cars better than others. For example, guys, one of the positives with the Camaro is probably going to be its stability. I did notice this car is going to be pretty dang big, like a small boat. So it's definitely going to have a lot of stability around corners and or on straightaways as well. Now, of course, with this car being bigger and or feeling a lot heavier, the Camaro is most likely not going to have the agility and or the feeling of something like the Acura NSX. And that's probably going to be for good reasoning because both cars are going to be insanely different. I really do love the way the Acura does feel, so when testing out some of these cars, I can definitely say they are going to feel a lot different, and I would say the Camaro is not the fastest touring car out there, and that's most likely going to come down to its overall speed. Yes, this car does do 257 miles per hour, but the biggest thing is going to be how does that car actually hit 250? Is it going to be able to fly out of corners and or keep its speed up when it's needed? I do think a lot of players are most likely going to pick other cars over this Camaro. It really is crazy how a lot of these cars do have the handling update from Season 8 Episode 1, but even then, guys, I do still think a lot of these cars are most likely not going to be used. I would like to know what you guys think in the comments below and which touring car is going to be your favorite. I do have a feeling most players are probably going to pick the FXXK. I have been using the Acura NSX GT3 recently a lot, and I would probably say that car is going to be top 3 when it comes to overall handling and speed. I really do think going against something like the S7 Celine as well is also going to be a challenge in any of these cars because how good that car is all around. And then if we look at something like the Camaro SS jumping into like a US Speed Tour race, which honestly this car might do pretty good in, I don't think you can then take this vehicle into like a racetrack and still do insanely well. Most players are probably not going to use this car for both of those events, which on the top end I would probably pick something like the Acura for both events like the Celine, and or something like the Renault and or the FXXK. Even though the FXXK is actually going to be slower than this Camaro, most players are not going to pick this car over the Ferrari, but overall, though, I would like to know what you guys think about this Camaro in the comments below. It's by far not going to be the best touring car, but I don't think it's going to be the worst either. I feel like it's really going to be in between when it comes to like overall performance, and most people are probably not going to pick this car, but I would like to know what you guys think about this thing in the comments below. And here are my updated Pro settings on the SS.